This droid here came from Corellia. The New Republic shipyard? This is an example of something I tend to roll my eyes at in any show or movie. When a character says something so blatantly obvious to every single person in the room. Ahsoka knows what Corellia is. That droid knows what Corellia is. Sabine knows what Corellia is. Everyone in the room knows what Corellia is. This little line of dialogue is obviously meant as exposition for the audience, just spelling out what something is. Hey, audience member, if you don't know what this thing we just said is, we're going to have a character say exactly what it is in a room full of people who already know exactly what this thing is. It would be like me being at work and someone says, hey, go grab the irons. And I say, oh, the irons. The irons are the Halligan and the axe. And then everyone would look at me like, yeah, the Halligan and the axe. That's the irons. That's what the irons are. What are you doing? Why are you stating the obvious? We all know what the irons are. Or someone saying, we're driving to Washington, D.C. And then someone says, oh, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States of America. Yes, that's the place. All of us in the room know that place and know what that place is. This is not at all exclusive to this moment in the Ahsoka show, and it is not at all exclusive to Star Wars. These kind of wink-wink obvious statements in movies and shows pop up all the time, especially in like superhero movies or science fiction franchises, where a character says something so obvious to everyone in the room that if you were in that room, you'd be like, what are you talking about, John? We all know what that is, John. Who are you talking to, John? Sometimes it's done playfully and in a fun tone. Like, for example, when Han Solo gets on the Millennium Falcon and meets Rey and Finn in The Force Awakens, Finn says, Han Solo, the rebellion general? And Rey says, no, the smuggler. Finn replies with, wasn't he a war hero? This is a fun way to kind of give everyone who doesn't know who Han Solo is, and I mean, everyone knows who Han Solo is, right? But it's a fun way to give audience members who might not know, because I'm sure they're out there, a little sliver of context wrapped in a little bit of humor and character confusion. It's way better than if Han said, I'm Han Solo, and then Rey said, Han Solo, the rebellion leader and the pilot of the Millennium Falcon, the ship we're currently flying in? TV Tropes calls this as you know, or narrating the obvious, a form of exposition where one character explains to another something that they both know, but which the audience doesn't or maybe has forgotten. It's not always a bad thing to use this trope, but for me, I often see it as weird, especially when you put yourself in the shoes of the characters in the scene. And I find it kind of a lazy and convenient way to just lay something out that maybe could have been explained or shown in a much better and more creative way to the audience. It makes sense when you have like a fish out of water character in the scene, a character that really doesn't know anything about anything and is coming into the situation for the first time. But in scenes where there is no fish out of water character and everyone in the scene is already in the know, it just feels goofy, to me at least. Sometimes the movie or show seemingly breaks the fourth wall and has a character kind of acknowledge that this is something that we already know, right? Like a wink wink to the camera. Yeah, we already know this. Sometimes the show or movie can be a little self-aware. I think some Disney animated movies have done this before. Maybe Frozen, maybe Wreck-It Ralph. Another variation of this as you know trope is called Tell Me Again. It's when several characters have already explained something during a discussion, but one character asks the others to repeat the entire explanation. The reason is so that the audience, obviously, can receive the exposition, receive the information. There are a lot of variations of this trope, a lot of examples, and if you look for it, you'll see it everywhere, especially in, as I said, science fiction or superhero movies, where a lot of stuff has happened in previous installments and already established canon. But a character states the obvious to everyone in the room for the sake of audience members who might not be in the know. If it's done well, it's fine. If it's done creatively, it can work. But most of the time, it's a short, obvious statement that kind of makes me roll my eyes.